Welcome to San Antonio's Influence Magazine show, the premier talk show where we introduce you to influential individuals doing significant work in the city of San Antonio and surrounding areas. Celebrate the spirit of business, leadership, and innovation. If this is your first time joining us and you'd like more information, you could find us at influencesa.com. That's influencesa.com. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and for this particular episode of the show, all future and past episodes of the show, pull up your YouTube search bar, toss in San Antonio's Influence Magazine show. When you get there, please subscribe, give us a like or a thumbs up, and hit that bell so that you don't miss any future episodes of the show. Welcome to the show, folks. I'm your host, Cedric Fisher. Today's guest is in the business of impacting the lives of troubled teenagers. He's a current district court judge for the 436th district here in San Antonio. He's a former city councilman for District 2. He went to school at UTSA, Texas Southern University, and got his law degree from the Thurgood Marshall School of Law. When we come back, we'll meet Judge Cruz Shaw. Stay tuned.
We are always trying to fix something, but we must start with forgiving. We must begin to open our hearts and follow God. We also must learn to forget, because if you don't forget, then you haven't forgiven.
Presented by Cedric D. Fisher and Company Publishers. What if the path to healing your deepest wounds began with a single, powerful choice? To forgive. In The Blessings of Forgiveness, Blaise LaVey takes us on an extraordinary journey from the struggles of a childhood marked by colorism, racism, and family secrets, to finding hope, redemption, and the courage to heal. Blaise's story is one of resilience, of rising above the pain of a fractured family and systemic prejudice. His journey takes him from a small Louisiana neighborhood to the heights of success as a journalist and leader. But it's the lessons learned along the way that define him. Blaise discovered that forgiveness was not just a gift to others, but a pathway to his own freedom. This memoir is a message of hope for anyone seeking healing from their own struggles. Blaise's reflections on race, faith, and the enduring power of love remind us all that the hardest roads often lead to the most beautiful destinations. The Blessings of Forgiveness by Blaise LaVey. Available now wherever books are sold.
Welcome to the show, Cruz.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So this audience has two groups of viewers.
Okay.
Those that know you and those that don't.
Okay.
So let's go all the way back to the beginning. Just tell us about your background, where you're from.
Okay. Yeah, born and raised in Houston, Texas, south side of Houston. Raised by a single mother. My mother Hispanic, my dad's black. Public school my entire life. Played baseball, got me into college. Kind of kept me off the streets a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. Went to Texas Southern University for undergrad for a little bit.
TSU, okay.
TSU.
Nice school.
Then came over to UTSA. And then after UTSA, I joined the military.
Yeah.
So I was in the United States Navy. So I did that for 8 years. Came out of the Navy. The last 2, I was in law school. I went back to Texas Southern for law school. Came out and then moved back to San Antonio. And here we are. I was a city council person for a while.
Okay.
Wasn't my thing. And then I got appointed as an associate judge here in the 436. And the Judge Jarrett, who appointed me, said she wasn't going to run again. Will I run? So I ran, and I became the first black man elected district court judge in Bexar County. And so here we are.
Outstanding. Cruz, explain the name. So Cruz is your middle name, right? That's generally a last name.
So actually, it's a nickname.
Nickname.
Okay, so my mother's maiden name is Cruz. And so, you know, in the Hispanic culture, more so Mexican culture, you keep your mom's last name. My dad wasn't having it. But then once he left, my mom just started calling me Cruz. And so it's stuck ever since.
You've openly admitted that being a troublemaker as a kid in Houston, right, from H-Town, we know that's a whole different kind of hood there. But now you're the one sitting on the bench trying to save troubled youth. So take us back to the moment when you realized you wanted to be on the other side of the system, helping kids.
You know what? I get asked that question a lot, and there was no aha moment. I think I just grew up. I cared less about what people thought about me. As I started progressing in school, because I was never an academic. I was never, the straight A student. I just got by every time. Frustrated my mother because she was super smart. I just didn't have the discipline then. But as I slowly progressed during academics, the kids that I hung around in the streets slowly got smaller because they weren't going that far. So as I progressed through high school, college, in the military, law school, that circle got a lot smaller. But there wasn't like an aha moment saying, I'm gonna start doing right. I just stayed in school and did what I had to do. It's a very transitional period. I can't think of any one thing that really said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. So here we are.
A lot of parental influence that kind of kept you.
Yeah, my mom was really strict.
Okay.
She was really strict. But as I got older, I got bigger than her. And she kind of gave me some wiggle room as I got older.
Yeah.
So I was able to stay out later. And then later you still stay out, more trouble you get into. Drinking and all kind of things that I shouldn't have been doing at that age.
Right.
But it made me who I am today. So it paid off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came from California, as I mentioned to you, and offline, and we had gangs. So I grew up when the gangs first started, Crips, Bloods. Okay. And people would always ask me, why don't you join the gang?
Right.
And I'd always tell them, the peer pressure I'm dealing with is in my house.
Yeah.
My mom said, no, right. I can't join the gang. So that kind of parental influence kind of kept me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, we had a bunch of gangs. We had a lot of Vietnamese, Salvadorian gangs, Mexicans, blacks, whites. And, I hung with them. I hung with several of them, especially the Hispanic gangs. And just never got jumped in. I kind of stayed my distance. Would play cards or, video games or whatever, but I never got into the streets that way or that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did enough to be accepted, but.
Yeah, that was cool with them. And I saw some things that maybe I shouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
But I'm still here, so I guess it paid off.
My name is Holly Worden. I am a firearm examiner at the Bexar County Crime Lab. As a firearm examiner, I am examining firearms, tools, ammunition, and ammunition components. I'm function testing firearms. I'm performing microscopic comparisons of bullets, cartridge cases, and other tool marks. We also do things such as serial number restorations and muzzle to target distance determinations. I'm fascinated by the science of what we're doing, the tool marks that are left. Every tool leaves a unique pattern, and we're seeing that pattern, and we're able to form conclusions of if two tool marks were made by the same tool or not. And so just being able to do that with a microscope is quite fascinating, and it can be very exciting once you see that identification come through. A lot of what we're doing is we're test firing firearms as well, and I think for a lot of people that itself can be interesting. I think what motivates me is truth and justice, and just being able to help provide answers and bring closure to the community.
So you were serving on San Antonio City Council.
Correct.
District 2, when you got the call to become an associate judge. Mm-hmm. You said you swung for the fences.
Yeah.
Tell us about that moment and that decision.
Because I never expected, going to law school, I didn't expect to be a judge. Mind you, I was telling you earlier that I was never, when you think of judge, you think of someone super smart, older, more skilled in the law. I never aspired to be a judge. And then when I got the call, I was like, I can do this. I can do it. So caught up on my juvenile law, and I practiced in the juvenile courts. So I was familiar with juvenile, but not from that position. It's always been from here. And so talked to my wife, said, all right, let's do it. And so I swung for the fence and took the associate job position, then ran for office and won.
Yeah, good, good. And the rest, as they say, is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
Yeah. So you made history as the first black elected state district judge in Bexar County.
Correct.
And
Black man.
Black man.
Yeah.
Right. Black man. Okay. And someone had to tell you about that, right? Had to bring that to your attention.
Right.
Right. So how does it feel now to break barriers, even though you were just really trying to do the work?
Yeah. It's a shame. It's 2025, and we're talking about that. Bexar County is 7-8% black. I don't really think too much about it. I get a lot of positive feedback from probation officers, attorneys, or the families that come before us when they see someone who looks like them on this bench. I'm all tatted up. The way I speak is the way I speak. So I think that, to me, is more important than actually being the first anything. I just want to make sure that we're effective in this courtroom.
You said that probation workers notice a difference when parents and kids walk into the courtroom and they see someone who looks like them,
right,
as you just mentioned.
Right.
So can you share maybe a specific moment where you realized that and saw the power of representation?
I see it all the time now. Now that was pointed out to me, when I have a kid that comes in, a lot of the parents may know me already because they see me on TV or whatever. But when they walk through those doors and you see it and they look like, you get a little nod like, he's a judge? Or typically I'll sit, not up here at the very beginning. I'm sitting in the juror's box, or I'm just sitting out here talking to attorneys or talking to families and kids. And then when I come out, like, oh, he's a judge. And you can see a kind of look of like, oh. Even like with reporters, they're like, I didn't know you were the judge. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. They still get shocked.
Right.
Yeah. You recently denied release to a 16-year-old who was shot by police, saying that the best way to keep him protected or safe was in detention.
Right.
How do you balance being a protector versus a punisher, especially when the system itself may be failing these kids?
Not to get in specific cases, but knowing the history of these kids, their families, you can kind of tell through their history, their habits, what they're about. And so oftentimes these kids need to be protected from themselves, but they're still going to be held accountable for their behaviors. And I tell them all the time, I wouldn't do this if I didn't care. And sometimes I got to be hard. And hopefully you'll see and get the lesson, like, I'm trying to keep you alive. I'm trying to keep them alive and out of the adult system. So it's a balance. Both can be true. I can be compassionate, I can be caring, protective, but at the same time, I can issue out consequences for behavior, and I will.
What's the ethnic makeup of the kids that you see?
Majority are going to be Hispanic.
Hispanic, okay.
50-50 on male, female, 51-49, something like that. But we have a disproportionate rate of young black kids that come in. Like I said, we're 8% black in San Antonio. We're about 13-14% in the juvenile system, which is a little bit higher. Some schools are more, they will call the police more often than other schools. And so that may be part of it. But but mostly black and brown.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, particularly in this area here. We're with Judge Cruz Shaw. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All you want is to keep them safe. If you have a gun to protect your family, make sure you're protecting your family from your gun.
So you've mentioned seeing teens commit crimes just to post online for social media likes. You've seen teens that do that.
Yes.
As someone who understands both traditional troublemaking and this digital age phenom, What's different about kids today versus when you were getting in trouble yourself?
Social media has changed the game. And, you know, we weren't raised with social medias. We weren't raised with cell phones. So that really changed the game in terms of influence. Back in our day, I'll say our day, you know, we would fight. You go to the hill or the park, circle around you, you fight, and it's done deal. And people would talk, oh, Cruz won, oh, he got whooped, or whatever. But it was word of mouth. No one actually knew the truth unless they were there. Nowadays with cell phones, everything's recorded. And so these kids are scared to fight or can't fight.
Yeah.
So that's when they start pulling out guns. And maybe not even shooting them, just having it available to them. And showing it like, you know, I got this. Or the impulsivity with stealing cars. You know, kids will get in a van and somebody will drive them to a high populated area, like a sporting event, mall, amusement park. They all get out and try to get a car. And they just take off to the place where they can sell them. And maybe 2 get caught. And then they come in front of me, you know, Hector, why are you stealing cars, man? I know you, and you suck at stealing cars. Do something different. Oh, sir, I'm trying to get likes. That's how we caught you, because you filmed live you stealing this car and how you did it, and you put your handle at the bottom of it. So we know how to find you.
Put it on social media.
Yeah, we know how to find you. So people want to be influencers. They want to be important. And right now you can do that so quickly just by posting videos. So it's so much different now than it was back in our time.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think kids, or people in general, would think, you know, at least with some foresight, that if I put this online,
No.
a lot of people are going to see it,
But
law enforcement included.
But keep this in mind too, that we know that because there was a time where we didn't have it. These kids were born into it. And so that's all they know. And I mean, they're quick to post guns, drugs, you know, whatever, knowing that we're going to see it. You know, bring them back in here and we'll deal with the consequences.
No doubt. Instead of just lecturing kids, you take them on field trips to places like the Fire Department Training Center. Tell us about your non-traditional approach to reaching these young people and why you think it works.
That was a while ago. So I was the associate judge then. And I was overseeing specialty courts. So these are courts that are designed for a specific charge, and they have to apply. If the kids get into it, they get counseling, therapy, and they get certain privileges, hopefully to graduate out the program. So I used my connections when I was on council to take these kids to PD, fire departments, so they can see something different and talk to other professionals who look like them. Because mind you, a lot of these kids have never left their neighborhoods. All they know is their family and their community. So get them out of that and see a different perspective of San Antonio. It was really fun. And a lot of these kids, really eye-opening experience for them. Yeah.
Okay. You've said you have 2 jobs, keeping kids alive and out of the adult system, which is a pretty heavy mission statement. So walk us through what that looks like on a typical day.
You know, calling the docket, having detention hearings, my communications with these kids and their families, I let them know that's my goal. And if I have to lock you up to work towards my goal, I will. And they understand that. And so that's how we do it. You know, every case is different. Every case has its different variables that come to play, different families, different support systems or lack of support systems. But they all know that I'm doing this for you. But at the same time, if you mess it up, I gotta do what I have to do. Not only to protect you from yourself, but protect our community.
Can you tell us one thing people don't know about you but should?
I like fitness. I like to work out.
Hobbies.
Plants.
Plants.
I like to garden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Green thumb.
Yeah, I got a little green thumb.
Okay. Indoors and outdoors?
Indoors and outdoors.
Indoors and out, okay.
And I learned I was good at it when I was on council because I was so stressed.
Yeah.
And I just started gardening. And when I was doing that, it was just so calming for me. So after a bad, hard day, I can go home, go in the backyard, and put my hand in some dirt. It was pretty cool. I still do it, yeah.
Pretty successful. I mean, everything stayed green and...
For the most part, you know, every once in a while.
You lose some stuff every
I got a
now
couple
and then.
plants that it's my arch nemesis, so I keep working with them. Well, I'm gonna figure the thing out eventually.
Kind of like a palm, right?
Yeah.
Palms are hard to keep.
Yeah.
Beautiful when you first get them.
Yeah, the fiddle figs, those, just keep working at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, Cruz, did you see all this in your future?
No.
No.
I played sports, I ran the streets. Like, she hates when I say this, but my mom was like, he's gonna be a probation officer when he gets older. So she would take me around, the family, like, he's gonna be my probation officer, and my sister was gonna be the doctor. And it was like because like I said, I wasn't academic.
Yeah.
And once I went to law school, she was like, oh my God, you're a lawyer now. I'm like, yeah. And I just thought I was gonna be in private practice, make a little money, and kind of enjoy life. And then again, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes Bible says a man's heart devises his way, but the Lord directs his steps.
Correct.
Right. So he may have a different plan for
Absolutely.
you. Right.
It's always his plan, not mine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we interview a lot of leaders on the show, and one thing we've all kind of concluded: leaders are all readers. They're always reading a book.
Okay.
That book is typically found in their nightstand.
Right.
What book's on your nightstand?
48 Laws of Power. Read that. The Four Agreements. I read that consistently. Those are probably the two biggest that stand out in my mind. And I enjoy reading, so I just get a book and start reading it.
Yeah.
So my office right now is full of books, and I just read.
Just read.
Yeah.
Yeah. You prefer hard copy or
Both.
audio book or?
So I'll do an audio if I'm traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's not true. I'll do an audio book when I'm driving. If I'm like driving from here to Houston or wherever, I'll put an audio book in. But yeah, I just sit there and just go through the pages. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but the 48 Laws of Power, that's my jam.
Good read.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you see next for you in your career?
I don't know. I'll stay here as long as I'm effective, as long as I get elected. I'll stay here and on this bench and doing the work that we do. But I don't foresee anything else. But like we said, it's God's plan.
Yeah.
So
he may have a different idea.
Yeah, he may. I don't know.
But you're a faithful servant, and yeah, whatever he says, do as long as he makes the pathway clear.
All right.
Cruz, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for
Appreciate
sharing your story.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
See you next time.